Hey people, welcome, welcome. What up to the humid DMV? That's right. We actually are starting a new part of our company. It's called Humidity Mortgage LLC because it is crazy out there sometimes. But in all seriousness, I hope that you and your families are doing well. Let me look right at the camera. So today we're going to be talking about value versus price, and I think this is specifically relevant going on with the real estate market. You know, when I get on here, I'm going to give you the real, right? And again, I'm opening this up for any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, right? Anything, constructive criticism, preferably, right? But let's talk about value versus price. So I'm going to talk about two different things today. We're going to talk about what's called intrinsic value intrinsic value or intrinsic price versus market value or market price. And so what is the difference between the two? And again, it's especially relevant for today. Intrinsic value or intrinsic price, when it comes to a piece of real estate, a property, anything that you can, any type of commodity, is what it's actually worth. Okay, is what it's actually worth. So, for example, if you were looking at a home somewhere in Prince William County, a single family home, and that single family home with a two-car garage, maybe 3,000 square feet, on a quarter acre lot, whatever, right now is selling for $600,000. That is the list price. Okay, well that is the intrinsic value, especially when an appraiser goes to that property, takes measurements, takes pictures, and compares it to the homes within, let's say, a half mile to a mile radius. On paper, with the actual calculation using the actual measurements, etc. That is the intrinsic value. That is what the property is actually worth on paper, okay, because of all the proper calculations that have gone into it. Okay, so however, what is going on today is you have what's called market value. The market value is largely dictated by the the economic precepts of when you have kind of something like this. If I can do like this, that's better, right? You have what's called scarcity. Okay, so you have the amount of inventory that's available versus the demand. So it's the supply and demand curve, as I've talked about many different times before. Okay, so that one house that we're talking about that's on the market for $600,000 and may actually appraise for $600,000 may have up to 5, 10, 15, 20 individuals or families who are interested in purchasing that home, right? However, what's going to happen is, let's say you have 10 families or 10 individuals, buyers who are interested in purchasing that home. 7 of them are automatically going to get weeded out because those last 3 are willing to pay much more than the intrinsic value. Okay, they're willing to pay much more, which means that now they are dictating what's called the market value. So they may say no. One person may come in and say, "I'm willing to offer 615,000 to pay for this home. I know that it's the actual intrinsic paper value is 600, but we're willing to pay above and beyond what it's worth." Then you may have the next person after that who offers 625, and the next other person after that offers 650. Okay, because to them, the market value, they are dictating the market value. So for whatever their motivations are, whatever their reasons are, okay, they're willing to pay a lot more out of pocket for that. Okay. Now you can't judge what people are doing, as far as that's concerned. But you do have to ask and question, you know, in the short term and also the long term, is that really the wisest financial decision to make, right? We just did a podcast last week, me and Tony Roque from Pearson Smith Realty. And one of the things that was mentioned on that podcast, go to our YouTube channel and check it out. Fantastic, fantastic conversation. one of the things we talked about is that you have these people who are paying anywhere, may say from 30 to $100,000 more over the list price, right? Well, at some point, can't say for all people, but at some point there's going to be a measure of remorse. And I'm not talking about that new movie, with Michael B. Jordan, right? Without remorse. No, I'm talking about straight remorse, because people are going to look back and say, why did I pay so much more for this property at the time, right? But again, adults are fully capable of spending the money any way that they want to spend. But you have to ask yourself that question. Anybody out there right now who's renting right now, if you are renting or if you're living with family rent free, or if you are considering getting into the purchase market, okay, let me give you a bit of advice, professional advice, all right? Right now, specifically in the DMV, and I can't speak for every single county, for every single locality in the DMV, but by and large, what is going on is that people are paying much more than the house is actually worth, more than its intrinsic value. If you have the discretionary funds and it's that important to you to buy that house for that much more, then by all means do it. We'll do the mortgage for you, no problem, and give you the best interest rate you can find. Okay. However, if you want things to be a little bit more balanced, then my encouragement to you is to wait, right? Because you don't want to put yourself in financial peril or put yourself into some kind of a herd race for a particular property when you may look back and have buyer's remorse. We do not want any of our clients to do that. We're not trying to steer you one way or the other. I'm being very honest with you. You are fully capable of making the most wise financial decisions for yourself. However, when you're purchasing a particular commodity, okay, when you're purchasing a particular piece of real estate, you have to really ask yourself several questions that are going to be native to you and what's most important to you when you're looking to do that. So I hope that makes sense. And furthermore, you can even apply this to stock or to mutual funds or to ETFs, which is the biggest, some of the biggest terms that are going on today, or even to Bitcoin, because what happens is the market will determine a certain amount of value, and then you have an intrinsic value. So what do I mean by that? For example, if you're looking at stock, okay, what is stock? Stock is a particular small percentage or larger percentage of ownership in a company. Okay, you may hear the term equities, and you break it down as real simply. Equity is ownership. Okay, so if you have, let's say you wanted to buy, stock in Visionary Lending. We are not publicly traded, okay, but I'm using this as an example. You wanted to buy stock in Visionary Lending, right? Okay, our current stock price is $20 a share, right? That's what the stock price is, and that stock price is determined by various factors that we will not get into right now. But what will happen is, if there's some great news that this quarter that Visionary Lending is doing great, and our earnings for this quarter are going to way exceed expectations, then people will look at that and say, wow, our financials are not, have not only looked good for the previous quarter, but they're going to continue looking good moving into the future, right? So there's an analysis there. So now you have a wave of people that will be purchasing the stock. What does that do? That will drive up the price, because now when people are selling it, it's kind of what's called arbitrage. You buy low and you sell high. So now more people are buying it, and now it's going to drive up that particular price of that stock. Now, again, who's to say that the intrinsic value of Visionary Lending is equivalent or supports that? Can't really tell, but the market forces really, intrinsic value and market value really do intertwine significantly with regards to that. So I think that what you need to do when it comes to anything that you're looking to invest your money in, to be very honest with you, is like, we'll look at what it's actually worth, but what are you willing to pay for it, and why? What kind of additional value does that bring to you in your life and your family? Does it better you, or does it enhance you in some way? So you have to be able to ask that question. So hopefully that's clear. Specifically, again, our areas of expertise are going to be within real estate and mortgages, but we also give people a level of financial advising with regards to getting qualified for mortgages, and such, and looking at their credit and making certain wise decisions. Okay, so hopefully this is helpful. Wanted to keep it quick. Wanted to keep it to the point. I highly recommend that you Google and research these things on your own. Okay, so that you can get your own understanding. And again, check out our YouTube page. Check out our podcast, The Visionary Experience. Amazing conversations. I do some individual sharing about various topics that may touch you, that may connect with you as an individual, physically, spiritually, emotionally, as a small business owner, as someone really who's pushing and hustling and trying to have motivation and discipline on a daily basis just to make it. So we always are looking to bring value, the bottom line, because I try to look at it from the other end. Do I want someone just kind of talking my ear off, or do I want to hear something that may really resonate with me? And so whatever we share here from Visionary Lending, whatever you hear from my man Chris Brouard, right? Talking about the infinite legacies, right? Those are things that we want to resonate with you, and so that you can share with other people. All right. So thank everybody for your time. God bless. Continue to work hard out there. We look forward to bringing more value to you every single day. Take care.